This French beauty is in my studio for a facelift today. To start with, I have applied a coat of a Paris grey chalk paint and let it completely dry. On my paper plate, I have two colors, the Versailles and the old ochre chalk paint. I am dipping the sponge into both colors at the same time. Unload some of the paint onto the other paper plate and then applying it wherever it goes. Today, all the chalk paint I am using is from Anniesloanchalkpaint's collection. If you watched my other videos, you already saw me mixing the colors with the shower sponge. First, it places the colors randomly, overlapping each other, and it also gives the surface a texture, not as rough as if I'd used a medium, but it is still a texture which will help me to create a kind of finish where all the colors are visible through. Stay with me to the end to see the result. My next layer is an old white chalk paint, and I am applying it the same way, but closer to the center. To blend the colors together, I am just turning the sponge around, trying to make the edges slightly darker than the middle. I have taken out all the drawers and painted the edges of the cabinet with the Versailles using a sea sponge. All the stools letting me to paint the layers and still leave the base color visible. I want the high points of the cabinet to be lighter, and using a small sponge, I am applying some of the old ochre and the old white. Here I want to show you how it looks like on the surface with no details. Again, I am applying two colors, the Versailles and the old ochre, with a shower sponge. As you can see, I am keeping the base color in the grooves of the cabinet to have them darker. Here, on a larger surface, you can see better how easily the different colors are blending with the shower sponge. And again, highlighting the details with the old ochre and the old white paint, using them randomly. I am applying the old white chalk paint closer to the middle, blending the colors together with the sea sponge. As I already have some Versailles on the sea sponge, I am just spraying it with water and blending the colors together, turning the sponge around and applying more of each color. Here, you have to see how much of each you want. It is a personal choice. While the drawers were out, I have already applied the paint wash to the sides with the on-floor chalk paint. I have mixed the paint 1:1 with water, applied it, and then picked up some of the paint with the wet rag. I am not going to work on the sides right now, so I am spraying the edges of the paint with water and smearing it, because if I let them dry as they are, later it will be difficult to get rid of those hard lines. And as you can see, it is easy to expose the lighter colors I have applied to the high points. Here you will see how the paint wash is applied to the surface with the details. I am painting all the surface with my paint wash, and if I think that the paint is still too thick, I will spray it with water and spread around, but still, the whole surface should be covered to get a good result. After covering the surface with the paint wash, I am spraying it with water and with a clean, wet rag, taking the excesses off. When you dab in the paint off, it creates a different result than if you just wiping it off. I am using both techniques to create the different results. And I wash the rug and also change the water quite often. On the side of the cabinet, I am doing the same, applying the paint wash, and then wiping, dabbing until I get the result I want. Here, you just have to be patient and do it again and again until you are happy with the result. And as you understand, the layers underneath should be really dry to not take them off completely and ruin your work. You can see here how the colors underneath are being seen through. The top of the cabinet I have painted the same way, but did a thicker layer of the on-floor paint wash to make it darker. After it all dry, I am ever so slightly sand the whole surface with a very soft sanding pad. It helps me to get rid of the rough edges, smooth the paint, and blend it even more, exposing the colors underneath a bit more here and there. After it is all sanded and dusted, I cover the whole piece with a clear wax. And now it is time for some antique gilding wax. It is helpful to have a clear wax first, as if I spread the gilding wax where I don't want it to be, I could easily wipe it off. Also, I covered the top of the cabinet with a dark brown wax. Just to remind you how it was before and how it looks now. You can see here the texture that was created with using a combination of a shower sponge and the sea sponge. I always try to answer your questions. Do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you again with my new fun project.